Hey, everybody, this is Tom Webster from Sounds Profitable. And this year, we're going to be doing a lot more kind of educational things on some of the great research and data and insights that are being put out about our industry from all of our wonderful partners and everybody involved in podcasting. And so we want to kick off this series, which is as of yet unnamed. I was going to call it 60 Seconds with Tom, but I don't know how long this is going to be. You're just going to have to bear with me. But we're going to kick this off with a piece of data that was put out this week by our partners at realm.fm, which is an audio fiction network. And they've written a wonderful piece on Medium with a number of graphs shared. I wanted to share one data point here in particular. Something they looked at were in-podcast advertising campaigns for other podcasts, right? And there were a number of ways that they did this. They did this by advertising using digital insertion within their own network. They did this by choosing smaller targeted networks and shows. They used ad swaps. They did run-of-network advertising to true crime fans. And of course, they did a programmatic campaign. And obviously here, the Realm in-network digital insertion worked the best here. And it's tempting when you see a graph like this to kind of focus on how small the numbers are at the bottom. But you know, we are in the realm of small numbers anyway with some of those conversion tactics. So what I really wanted to highlight here was actually just how high the Realm in-network digital audio insertion is, and how you should think about that in context of your own campaigns and your own kind of promotional efforts. And I want to give you a little context behind this because I think it can be easy to make some wrong decisions when you look at data like this. And the first thing that I would point out, and I'm just going to point out three contextual things here. The first is that data like this is what I like to call OPP. It's other people's statistics. So the P is silent. This is data that you're going to want to experiment and try for yourself and collect it yourself because your data will look very different. And I'll point out a couple of very simple things about Realm's own sort of in-network DAI. Number one, it's audio fiction. You have a very targeted audience. They're audio fiction fans. They're listening to audio fiction. And also, many of those audio fiction shows, of course, are short-run shows, which means every episode that runs and every ad that runs in those episodes has a chance to be some person's last episode of that podcast. And so they're naturally looking for more shows. So that number is not your number. That's Realm's number, but it's a fantastic number to track. And that's my second point. In a snapshot, numbers like that are semi-helpful, but where they really shine is when you track them over time. That is not a number that you should take as gospel for every year and every month and every quarter with your network. You should be always refreshing those kinds of numbers because they're a valuable track of the health of your network. If you find that your in-network advertising is increasing in conversion and outside of network, some of those things are decreasing, it's not necessarily a good sign. That might mean that you're making the people you already have a little bit happier. The people that were already listening to your shows maybe added a second or third show. That's great for some ad impressions, but it's not necessarily increasing your reach. And just by the same token, if you see that your in-network conversion rates are dropping a little bit while some of the outside of network efforts that you're doing are actually improving, that might just mean that your audience is getting bigger. So it's a thing to track and not a thing to look at in snapshot. And then the final thing I'll point out about these data is that, yeah, it can be tempting to just do what's at the top of that list, to really just focus on in-network podcast advertising and maybe some smaller targeted networks. But the truth is, you can never ignore what's on the bottom of that list. You need to have a loss leader. The best example of this is HBO. Any HBO program you watch is going to promo another HBO program just before you watch it. And that's, of course, how they increase the stickiness of that network and they increase the engagement and keep you coming back for more. But they can't just rely on that because that's not going to increase subscriptions. So even though the approach that they use with kind of mass media is a bit more scattershot, they have to be out there all the time with at least one show. Right now, of course, it's The Last of Us. And they're very good at sort of moving you to that next show. But even though that kind of advertising doesn't convert as well, perhaps, as the kind of in-network advertising that they do, it's vital to build audience and increase reach, right? So in-network advertising might increase your footprint with a given audience, but you've always got to do things outside of your network to grow that reach. I hope this has been useful for you. We'll be back next week, I hope, with another quick bit about research and data and insights. I'm Tom Webster. Check out that study at realm.fm. And for more insights like this, follow us at soundsprofitable.com. Sign up for the download and our weekly newsletter, and also on LinkedIn and other social media. You can follow and get insights like this. So thanks for watching.